started.
Pugnacious pawn. Okay, e4. How about a French defense? I haven't played one of those in a while. C3. That's a move I've never seen in response to the French defense. He's getting prepared to play d4. Or he's getting prepared to play the advanced French. That's okay too. So he can play d4 now, if he wishes. And that would be the advanced French. He doesn't have to play that way. There he goes. So let's just develop a knight, put a little more pressure on the center. Now go ahead and take. Then I'm going to put a knight on e7. If you put the knight on e7 first, then he can take that pawn, perhaps. I'm not sure if that really works. So he's just developed another knight. The knight could come to b5 and then to d6, which is kind of annoying. But if this knight moves out of the way, then the bishop will be guarding that square, so that would just lose a pawn. So I guess I don't have to worry about that immediately. Question is, do I want to try knight to... yeah, let's just go with knight to g6. Sometimes you want to... It's interesting to play knight f5 and put more pressure on the d-pawn. But I think this is okay as well. I'm going to play bishop d3 and castle. And keep two pieces trained on the d6 square, so this knight b5, d6 is not a big threat. So now it should be safe to play f6 and just keep counterattacking the center like you do in the French. Because otherwise you might get stuck in some really passive position if you're not careful. Well, let's stop and think. f6, he takes, I take back with the bishop. This is still defended and not under attack. If he ignores it, I can take and maybe try and win a pawn. I think this is okay. He can take my knight. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and leaves me with a very funny-looking king-side pawn structure. But, well, there is some pressure on the d-pawn right away. Yeah, he's doing that. Okay. Well, we'll see if this is any good. I'm not sure. And defends that pawn. So I have a backwards e-pawn and doubled king-side g-pawns. Those are structural weaknesses, so I need to try and activate my pieces. I have the bishop pair. That's a long-term asset. If I can get in the move e5 here, that might help. e5, pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and then the d-pawn is hanging at the end of that. e5, pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop takes. Yeah, it's kind of forced. If I had time to get in this move, bishop g5, it might be interesting. So, what to do with the bishop?
Server announcement.
Seems he has the d-pawn adequately defended at this point, so I don't see any great attack on that. Okay, he's targeting my my g-pawn. Let's see. Can he hit it again with the knight? Not right away. Okay, let's defend with the queen, and then put a rook to the c file. That's interesting. He might be able to take on d5 here, taking advantage of this pin here. So maybe I'll go to the f file here. That kind of commits me to trading off my knight, my bishop for his knight, if he plays knight to g5, which he can. Okay, put both his rooks in the center. I'm putting my rook on the c file, like I said. Let's see, knight a5 to c4. Is that an idea? Take off this bishop and leave the f-pawn a little under-defended. Let's see, is he threatening to anything here? I don't see it just yet. I mean, the one problem I see is knight to g5 there would force me to give up my my bishop. Okay, let's see what he's coming up with in this situation. So knight to c4 is my idea. Just trade this guy off. Now he goes knight to b5. That's an interesting move. This square is under-defended, the d3 square. So he's threatening the d6. He's threatening to hop into d6 and just fork the queen and the rook. So if I play here and then he plays knight to g4 in this situation, I can move my queen. Okay, he moved his knight back. So I want to play knight to c4, or at least that was my plan. And now he's just going to take it with his knight. He didn't take the pawn. I left this pawn hanging on a7, so let's kick the knight first. Now, how about b5? If I play b5 and then knight c4, when he takes, I'll get some nice advanced pawn here and maybe an attack on his backwards b pawn. So that's an idea. Quickly played, but it did get rid of his weakness. Got rid of his weakness. He didn't have a backwards b pawn because he had time to get in the move b4, so no longer is it a backwards pawn. But there's still maybe something I can do on the queen side here. Rook b8, pawn to a5. Takes, leaving him with an isolated pawn. That's an idea. The way things are now, I'm never getting in the move e5 here, it looks like. Okay, so let's start with rook b8. Rook b8, a5, he could take a5, but then my rooks could penetrate on the b file. Maybe rook to b3. The other rook to b8 might be interesting. Rook to b2. Hitting the queen. Okay, he's looking at this pawn again. He's just maneuvering the queen around. I'm not sure what he's doing. Yeah, let's try this a5 idea. It's a temporary pawn sack, but these doubled pawns over here are going to be weak if he takes it, so I'm not so worried. Actually, it's not even a pawn sack. I can take a3 immediately, can't I? With the bishop. And if he pushes the pawn forward, I'm just going to take it with the bishop. And I still have my pieces lined up on f2 if his bishop ever moves. But this bishop is doing a good job. It looks like it's just a big pawn, but it's defending the f2 square as well as defending the f2 square as well as the d4 square. Okay, so let's grab this. So maybe I should have played rook to b3 first, because then I would have the option of playing rook to b8 and doubling. And here I don't get that. I do have some idea here, though. Say I trade rooks, he takes back with a rook, and I can play e4 with the threat of bishop to f5 with the skewer. Yeah, it looks like that's worth something. See how he takes back. If he takes back with a knight, then I'll just have to retreat my bishop, but I will also have a square. Okay, so now e5, He takes the bishop here, hitting the queen. Queen moves, and I take the rook, right? What other moves does he have besides taking? If he moves the queen, then I can take on... let's try it. If he moves the queen, then I can just take his advance to d pawn. Maybe eliminate one of the features of his position. Leave me with a couple of passed pawns here, which he's got blockaded, but well, I can work to unblockade them. Okay, he took. I don't know if he had an idea here, or if he missed the skewer. He can move the rook with tempo, but then I take the queen. He needs to move the queen with tempo. Yeah, he could maybe attack my bishop with queen to that move. So if I take the rook and he takes the bishop, yeah, I'm still just winning the exchange. I will do that. Now, this is a bit risky here because he's got this advanced pawn. And I have to think where I want that bishop to go. Maybe here. Defending my pawns. And, okay, let's pile up on this guy. Oh, that's true. He can drive that pawn all the way to a7 because it's defended by his bishop here. Well, we'll see what he can do with it from that point. I'm going to take his this pawn if I have a chance. Okay, he defended that. Now his back rank is weak, so can I do something clever? Queen here, for example. Hits the bishop, but the threatened queen invasion is covered by the knight. I really need to threaten to get to e8, e1 rather, e1. Queen to e1 would be nice. These are all covered by knight, queen, knight, queen. Yeah, e1 is only square. Well, let's start with this move. See how pugnacious pawn. It's funny. It's his pugnacious pawn is coming true. That looks like his plan is working out. Okay, he defended with that move, and now where can I go to threaten? Where can I go to threaten Queen e1? Let's see, his queen let go of the squares that it was covering. So I could threaten queen to c1. Let's see, I could also threaten bishop here, but then, yeah, he's got that. He's got that covered. Bishop to e4, he could just play f. No, he actually couldn't play f3.
Check.
He would have to do something else. Okay, he grabbed a pawn with check. And that picks up the rook. But he can't take the rook because of here. Is this mate here? Well, let's see what he does. I may have to sacrifice the rook for that pawn, though, just to survive this position. Okay, so check will buy me one tempo. It's too bad I can't check somewhere like from e1 where it supports bishop to e4, which would skewer the queen or fork the queen and the king.
Check.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Let's see. Now what I can do is give up the knight and give up the rook. Give up the rook for the knight. Bishop takes rook, queen takes knight. And then we have the same number of pieces. We both have a bishop and a queen, but he has more pawns. He has an extra pawn, and it's passed. My pawn is passed too, but his looks faster. So let's go here. This also threatens bishop to e4 check and winning the queen, as well as stopping the pawn from advancing. It's a very double-edged position, but I think white's better here. White is better. I'm low on time, too. So, anyway, we'll take a look at that, see where I went wrong. I've been saying that a lot lately. Okay, he's taking his time to think. That's probably a good thing for him to do at this point. Oh, he goes there. But is that really good? Say, what about queen queen f1 check? King comes forward here. I can check with the bishop. The king can come to that square. Bishop here check first, pawn up, then queen here check.
Check.
It also wins the pawn if nothing else. But I was thinking maybe there's something like a mate. If the king goes back, it's check and win the queen. So the king has to come forward, or the pawn comes forward. Goes with the pawn forward. Now there's a queen check here. King can come forward, and there's queen there as mate. So he can't come forward. He can come this way. He can interpose with the queen.
Check.
Let's see how he plays this. Queen to g2 is possible. King there, is that really possible? Thought this was getting into trouble.
Check.
At the end of all these checks, I'm thinking I can just take this pawn, because I think eventually he'll have to bring his queen in to stop trouble. See, now I'm winning the pawn with check on g4 if he just moves his king again, which he did.
Check.
So I just need to play quickly from here on out, and I should be okay. I've turned this game around. When you have opposite colored bishops, it's important to attack, because the odds favor the attacking side here. Okay, now
Check.
It takes the queen off. This might be a draw, actually.
Check.
Yeah, he should just go attack my pawn. And then I defend it with the bishop, and then he lets me advance it. That's interesting. This will at least keep one of his pieces tied down. Yeah, keeps his bishop tied down. So now I can bring my king in.
Check. Check.
Okay, it's important to keep these pieces going forward. Let's see. Yeah, if I advance one more, then it's going to be a draw. So let's do that. It's really a draw.
Check. Draw offered. Draw offered. Game drawn.
There we go. So interesting game. I will upload this new
Incoming
postmortem.
challenge.
See you guys later. Bye.